ship turning or like continuing on the lines, we have some brighter spots, like wider. What are those, like shallow areas or higher areas?
Oh, in the multi-beam data?
Yeah, what are you looking at?
The light blue.
Oh, yeah,
Screen.
it's just the contours. They're just, we have white contours, so when there's a whole bunch of them, it means it's fairly steep.
But I mean, when right now we have the zoom in, right?
Yeah.
Before Chris zoomed it, there were some spaces that were brighter and like lighter.
Yeah,
than
that's
that.
just because there's a lot of contour lines
Oh, okay.
concentrated there.
Okay.
So like on the right there,
Yeah,
you're looking at it.
exactly, yeah.
But if I go ahead and zoom in there, it just looks.
Oh, it's that. Okay, good.
So Chris, one thing to pass on to the next navigator is when we do line 11, we don't want Argus drifting south. We want it either on the line or north.
So whatever offset we have to do.
Yeah. Because if it drifts to the south, then we're in the same position we were in.
Cool.
Roger that.
Thanks.
Do we know if there are interactions with the developers of the softwares and technology we're using to give them some feedback or things like that?
Most of these softwares are it's like a yearly upkeep fee, and then they give you the latest updates. We've had some representatives from certain softwares on board, like Fledermaus, but typically I don't think so. They are, a lot of these sonar companies are very active with users though, so it certainly does happen.
Okay, cool.
We 2 years ago, I had a pretty good interaction with one of the people that worked on a program called Stella. And Stella is for celestial navigation. You can do anything from calculate like sunrise and moonrise depending on where you are or where your ship's going, to input basically celestial fixes from stars that you get and calculate your ship's position. And so they came on board because we were doing a lot of celestial. It's a big part of our navigation classes at the academy. So people, they wanted that feedback because you don't often get it with it not being a well-practiced discipline. But yeah, it's really cool. It's awesome having the software too. I just physically don't understand how people could have done all those calculations back in the day and got accurate fixes.
Yeah, it's impressive.
I mean, I guess you consider what's your definition of accurate, but
and Captain Music of the Simone Clipper was a very experienced navigator as well. So yeah,
it takes skill and practice.
Oh yeah. Haven't even actually attempted
celestial.
Yeah.
Do you know how?
Not really. I know. I mean, I know generally how a sextant works, but
yeah,
not really.
I wonder if they have one on board.
Maybe.
They have a, what do you call it? The instrument to look at the horizon and, what's it called?
Octant?
Again?
Sextant? No.
What's the second one you said?
Sextant?
Sextant, yeah.
They do have a sextant?
They do have a sextant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Then yeah, that's what you use.
Nice. So for our viewers, next expedition starts next week, and we're going to be visiting unexplored regions from the National Marine Sanctuary of American Samoa and the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument. And then we're going to go back to the U.S. West Coast for more expeditions where we will have both Argus and Hercules. exploring the ocean. Yep.
I'm flying through this bingo board.
Oh, Jesus.
This
What do you
is
have?
the Academy. That's basically a free space.
Another one?
What is it?
The Academy.
Did you forget that one? Did you forget that one?
When did I?
Oh.
You just said it. It's, you know, celestial navigation is a big part of your
Oh,
course.
training.
work.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's my life.
What, him talking about the Academy was a bingo square?
Yeah, just saying the words, the Academy.
Uh,
That's what, you know, I don't like the slow ones. I like the ones that we can get through, you know.
Yeah.
For our viewers, we know that our watch is a very chatty watch.
Is someone saying that we're chatty?
No, I am saying that we're chatty.
Oh.
And one of our stars is Chris, the navigator. So we developed a bingo
Oh.
about him.
Thanks.
I'm just sharing with our audience what we're doing so they're not that lost.
Thank you.
That's off the records for sure.
It's off the record.
So what we're doing is we're scanning
I'm
the area
confused.
using a side scan sonar. The area is northwest or northeast from Bango Bango.
northwest.
Northwest. Mm-hmm.
What was off the record?
Oh no, the official expedition is not about making bingos or counting sea cucumbers or chatting about
yes.
Wait,
plastic
it's not?
pollution.
We're just trying to pass
The actual
time.
expedition is
No.
about finding or looking for the flying boat, Samoan Clipper.
Honestly, if someone could trade me bingo for the rest of my life for the Samoan Clipper, I would make that
Yeah.
trade
Oh,
in
yeah,
an
yeah.
Absolutely.
heartbeat. Bingo means nothing to me, but this would mean a lot to find this. That'd be
Mhm.
really awesome.
So who will be on the next expedition?
Not me.
You're not.
Nope.
You're not gonna
No,
be.
I already did my time. This is over 4 weeks for me.
Oh, we're gonna miss you, Chris.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Wendy, you're staying,
I'm
right?
staying.
What about Mike?
I'm staying.
Busy Mike. You were staying.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay.
going.
Cool.
I'm
It looks
leaving.
like it's flashing.
Zip's not
You know,
gonna be
that's
with
cool.
us. Michael Brennan, you're
Oh,
not
yeah.
Oh,
gonna
is
be with
that
us,
it?
right?
Yeah, I'm
What is
leaving.
that?
What is that?
I don't
And
know.
Becca, are you
cool.
gonna be
Well,
with us?
Yeah, I will
It's
be.
gone now, and we
I have an
can't go
image of
back.
it. I don't know why it was. Yeah,
think it was
it's
some
weird that it
kind of
was
shrimp.
reflecting. I guess the light must have hit it just right.
It's
What
do you
was
call
that?
it? Cilia. Sometimes it's bioluminescent, sometimes it's just reflection off of its movement.
Hmm.
Yeah, it'd have to be some pretty strong bioluminescence though to be able to be seen
Seen
through the.
through the light. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I'm fairing probably Cilia. Like the ctenophores.
Mm-hmm.
I have a cousin named Tina, but not 4 of them.
Surely you can't be serious. I'm very serious.
And don't call me
Don't
Shirley.
call me Shirley.
What?
Come on, Steven. How is quoting a movie totally not one of the squares?
Yeah, that should have totally been one
I
of
mean,
your,
there's only
one of your
25
Chris squares.
squares on a bingo board.
Yeah.
You guys had to come up with
You
25
couldn't make
things.
it too easy.
Well, one of them's free. But yeah, we've come up. We've come up
Okay,
with.
24.
we've-
It didn't take
no,
you very long to fill
we've
it in.
come out.
I'm guessing free was the first one you came up with.
Yeah.
Sometimes actually, Mike wrote free in the wrong box on ours.
We distracted him.
Bridge now. Of course we hold position. Thank you.
See, like, putting bridge nav would have been way too easy.
Oh yeah, that's not.
That's cheat.
Yeah, you
it's
can't use that.
cheating.
He has to say that.
I mean, I could totally just break
No, that's kind of
radio
what you have to say.
comms.
It's kind of what you have to say.
I mean,
What would you say
Sure.
instead? Yo, bridge?
yo, bridge.
Yo,
What
Hey,
up?
bridge.
Holla back at
Oh
me.
no.
This is your boy Nav.
They would answer. They just wouldn't be.
They would be like, okay.
There might be a cultural difference there. It might
Martina would
a
be-
little-
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
there we go.
Okay.
Martina.
What is it?
He said Martina.
No.
She,
That's another bingo square.
she would be, but anyway, she would be very confused. Even if she did get it, it's still really confusing.
What does Martina do on the boat?
She is the chief mate, so she is second in command, but she stands bridge watches with some of the other mates. So as long as we are on watch on 4 to 8, she is also on watch with us. But she is in control of the ship, so I will call up to her and ask her to do things, but ultimately she is the one in charge of the safety of the ship and the crew.
That's pretty awesome.
So when it comes down to it, she's got eyes all around. We have eyes on the ROV. So if need be, she will advise me back based on what she's seeing. If it's not possible for me to do what I would like to.
Man, if we were in the Mediterranean, that would be an ancient shipwreck target right there.
On the right?
Yeah. It's funny.
But it's probably gonna be a lava tube here.
It's just, yeah, a pile of rocks.
Pile of rocks.
What about it with caught your eye as a shipwreck target?
Can you
You're
repeat that?
very quiet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speak up.
What about that caught your eye?
Well, so it's not a rock. It looks like a pile of rocks, and it's kind of in a ovoid shape, which is you know when an ancient ship would the wood would decompose, the amphora would kind of spill out in a somewhat of a ship-shaped pattern, so kind of like an oval.
Okay.
So that's and then it'd be like kind of an even mound. We found a lot of those with this sonar. Like 50,
Wow.
Dang.
something like that.
How far off do you want to be to the edge of those lines going north? Do you want to be touching them or just a little off?
No, I'd like to be the same, like 200, 250 meters off.
Okay.
So like from
Perfect.
that line, just, yeah.
Alrighty. Then north we go.
Yeah.
I actually missed.
Like following the
Bridge
trajectory
down.
of the 1, 2, 3, 4 line.
It looks like a crab almost.
Bridge nav. Request we track a line bearing 333 at 1 knot. Change your heading as needed. Thank you.
Sonar for a minute.
So are we heading to line 22?
11.
We're heading to line
11.
11. Where's line 22?
I was just on the high pack screen, line 22. I don't know why that was.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, I think they would numbered that because we had 21 lines and this was the next one put in. And then 23. Well, 22 also started to the western
Yeah,
lines.
so it,
But anyway,
so
I think separate files were created in this. But they numbered it 22 because 21 was the northernmost line. But we're not going to run line 22 because it was too close to all
Oh,
the
I
turns.
see
Yeah.
what you're looking at. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
because this is the original survey.
Yeah. But it's okay because we're not going to run line 22 on the other survey anyway.
okay. So are we heading towards line 11?
We're redoing line 11.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to take us 53 hours to get there. Nope, 9. Just kidding. We weren't moving.
It's 57,
59
oh,
hours,
13,
13
8.
hours.
Yeah, we're coming up to speed. That's why we're going a knot and not 0.01 knots. Oh, whoa. I just found out I can zoom with a little circular dial on my mouse.
Is Chris learned something new, a square you have?
No, I didn't expect that to happen.
Oh, wow.
Touche. That was a great answer.
Yeah, what are you guys going to do? 4 to 8, you're going to get Miles next cruise. And he's only going to be, like, probably more entertaining and better at this than me. So
Why is he moving to 4 to 8?
I think he is. Didn't someone say that?
He is, I think. I don't know why.
Maybe he wants it because he hears how good this watch is.
Right.
But joke's on him because
Or like who else?
we're losing some primary members of this team.
Who else is out for nav on that one?
A new student from Chris Roman and somebody else I don't know.
So Rennie's off as well?
No,
I think Rennie's doing
he's-
mapping or something.
Okay.
He's on. Was he like mapping coordinator or something?
Something like that.
What's Miles' last name?
Saunders.
Yeah. He's in 4 to 8.
That's funny. And who's the 8 to 12 nav?
What's that?
Who's the 8 to 12 nav?
8 to 12 nav is going to be Al-Sibani.
Oh,
Yes.
Suleiman. Okay.
Who's that?
Suleiman. He's Omani and he's in the Omani Navy, I believe. He's really good. He's been out for many years.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know he was showing up. That's great.
That's cool. So on the 48 is going to be me, Scapazzi, Saunders, Snyder, Hannaford, Whippler, Talbot, and yeah.
And who's the other navigator then? So Saunders, Al-Sabani, and...
Is Lily
Moyer?
Muir. She's
Yeah.
one of Chris Roman's students.
Oh, okay.
I know her from
Oh, okay.
URI. But she's new to the
Hello.
Nautilus.
Who's the third video person coming on with McNichol and the
The
intern?
We have
missing
Ed,
intern is coming, I think.
Scapazzi,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Nichols. Nichols,
No,
I don't know the...
Oh,
That's Ed.
Nichols. So we have McNichol,
So it's McNichol
and Nichols. That's funny.
So we're finishing our watch right now. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Keep asking questions and don't forget to follow us on social media and share with your friends. You're going to be hearing some chatting here in the van as we pass along some of the news. Hey! So Maddie is here. I'm gonna say goodbye to you guys. Nighty time for me. Bye bye.
Hey, Trevor. What's that? Yeah, sure.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome to Nautilus Live.
Welcome back to the longest Nautilus dive in history.
That's
Nautilus Live After Dark.
yeah, that was my jazz lounge voice. All right, what have I missed? What's new in the last 8 hours?
Well, we've done. we finished those 3 lines to the west of the original grid, and then we've transited up to a new line that was south of the original grid, and now we're headed north, I think, to fill in a gap in our initial grid.
Oh, we're filling in the gap?
I think so.
Yes, there's a section of line 11 that Mike, when he reviewed the data, found that there was a gap in the coverage. So we want to make sure we're completely thorough and that we have our first initial survey box is completely filled in. So we're going to go over that one, and then I think the plan is to head over to targets 30 and 31 and to get visuals on those and compare that to the sonar readout.
Cool. Do we know if that'll happen in this watch or the watches beyond?
It maybe.
Maybe. Just a general maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, it has us 2 hours getting to line 11, and then it takes about 2 hours to do line 11, and then it'll be a little bit to even maneuver and get into place for the other target. So I would say no.
Maybe not.
And then as we're heading over to 9/11, are we mapping some additional area as well?
Yes, it's
Okay.
just whatever the route the ship takes is what we will record.
Cool. All right. I can work with that.
We're free-forming it.
Are we climbing right now?
Yes.
All right, so for those of you that are just tuning in, looking at the map here, we've got quite a few countries lighting up around the world. Multiple states in the US, New Zealand, United Kingdom. We've got the Netherlands, Germany, Canada, Australia, Turkey, Japan, Finland, Switzerland, and Barbados. Welcome, everyone. It's just after 8 p.m. American Samoa time. I think we're all nice and rested. What did everyone do in their 8 hours off? I took a really long nap.
Yeah, nap, shower, eat.
Yeah, eat.
Eat, laundry, shower.
Nap, shower, eat, gym, spreadsheet, emails.
Eat, emails, eat.
Yep.
I didn't eat my emails though.
All the above.
Emails, eat.
Emails, eat.
Gym.
Try to watch sunset.
How'd it go?
It failed.
Did you out there
was
watch the
raining.
rain set?
We are en route to line 11 in our initial survey area. We detected a gap in the coverage, so just to ensure that that area is completely filled in, we're going to head back that way and do a once over with the side scan sonar just to make sure that everything is as efficient and filled in as possible. And then we'll head over to targets 30 and 31 to get visuals on those with Argus. So they are, my understanding, they're the two most promising targets that we have so far.
Yeah, we want to be as thorough as possible, and also it just so happens that line 11 is fairly close to the original reported crash location. So that's definitely one we don't want to leave any kind of stone unturned. So we're going to check that out, and then yes, I mean targets 30 and 31 were two of the ones that still retained some interest after the processing, and so they're in close proximity to each other, which makes them not only easier to reach and to study together, but also intriguing in that if we're looking for what we believe would be a debris field, having items of interest in close together would maybe suggest that could be what we're seeing. So we need to go get a look with the Argus camera and get a sense of what's really down there. What do we? How does the reality of the video image compare to what the data as it's interpreted, in the digital readout on the sonar?
Will that help us to sort of weed through the other targets that we have as well?
I imagine it will. I mean, if we can see what are the shapes on the bottom and how do they get rendered in this program, will help us understand what's happening with the rest of the data.
I've been reading back through this chat, and I think I've seen 2 or 3 people now that said that they've dreamt that we found the Samoan Clipper. And you're not alone. I dreamt of side scan sonar surveying all night last night and woke up wondering what had happened to myself. So I think we're all dreaming along with you.
Those are beautiful dreams.
Yeah.
May all your dreams come true. So right now the ship is still completing the turn to the north, and that tends to play a little havoc with the sonar readout. So if you're watching the waterfall right now, that's what's going on. That you're not getting a really clear picture, and also it looks like we've got some rising terrain ahead, which should be interesting to watch. You can actually get a sense of some of those that rocky slope on the Argus camera. So once the sonar readout stabilizes, it should be interesting to compare what we're seeing on the video screen to what the sonar is telling us.
Russ, I was just thinking about our interaction earlier today, the live ship-to-shore interaction that we do here on ship. We live stream out to organizations and schools and sort of other community groups around the world and tell the story face-to-face, I guess screen-to-screen maybe. But Russ and I and Devin and the crew had one with the Explorers Club, and Russ, you were telling me the story about the flag that you're bringing, which I think is a super cool and interesting story. I mean, it's kind of an honor that you have that, right?
It is. I'm very honored that the expedition was awarded a flag from the Explorers Club, which is a fellowship society for explorers that was begun in 1904 and has had a number of really distinguished members. Admiral Byrd, Thor Heyerdahl, Sir Edmund Hillary, Dr. Robert Ballard. So it's quite quite heady company at times, and yeah, we submitted an application to carry the Explorers Club flag on this expedition, and it was granted. We were given flag 83. There's I think there's been 100 and some flags created in the history of the organization, and each one accrues its own history over the years, and the list of expeditions and places that it's been grows and grows, and unless it gets retired, and they have retired a few. There was a special one made actually that was a tiny one for weight saving purposes that went to the moon on Apollo 11, and that is framed and hanging in the club, and it's not going anywhere else anymore. But it's kind of neat. Our flag is flag 83, which I noted in the history that the Flag and Honors Committee sent along with it, that its first expedition was the Washburn Victoria Island expedition of 1938. So the very same year in which Simone Clipper was lost. So and I was so pleased and told the people at the the Flag and Honors Committee what a great choice that was, and I was I'm sure that's no coincidence, and they wrote back and said, well actually yeah, like it is. We did our best to find a flag with interesting history, but had actually missed the fact that it had that connection to Simone Clipper. But it's interesting that like those kind of connections keep happening on this project. We've had so many from the fact that the Clipper was lost on January 11th, which you could of course render as 1111, and this is Nautilus's 111th mission. So again, 111. And then of course our own Rebecca Whipfler discovering that after she reported aboard and found out what the mission was, and shared that with her parents, that find out that her father's family has Musics in their family tree, and they really did trace it back and found that she has a common ancestor with Captain Ed Music of Samoan Clipper. So
Yeah, it's so wild.
yeah. Yeah.
And fingers crossed that it all comes to be this serendipitous discovery as well.
That's right. So,
Have
but
you
yes.
Have you
Go
thought
ahead.
about flying the flag, or is it too much of a precious antique?
Yeah, we don't actually fly it. Yeah, it would probably get damaged fairly quickly, but we will take a photograph. We were going to take a crew photograph. Actually, we were going to do it tonight, just after dinner, but the rain, didn't cooperate with us. So we're going to reschedule that for tomorrow night. We want to get like as many of the crew as possibly we can, except for, of course, people who have to remain on duty. But we'll get everybody in there together and pose with the flag, and that will accompany the report that I submit back to the club, and with the latest addition to its exploring history.
It's such a cool kind of old school concept,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, bringing this flag along, and it's been around the world with explorers as well, and
right.
one of them out of this world, but
right, exactly. So, and they've been on top of Mount Everest, and been to the bottom of the Marianas Trench, and yeah, all around the world on all kinds of unique expeditions and explorations. So.
we were talking about how many cruises we'd been on. So I'm actually breaking mine out into categories for you.
Nice. What kind of categories?
Remote sensing ROV, and then diving is a separate one. Yes.
Cool. Categories
so
are good.
We had an interesting conversation on, well, what is a cruise? Is it sleeping on the boat?
Or is it sleeping not on shore?
Or sleeping not on shore?
Because those are different for me.
If you get to go home and stay in your own bed, is it still a cruise? Yes. I'll be checking back in a little bit.
Right on.
Okay.
Is it only a cruise if you're doing research?
I would say yes.
Yes. Like a scientific cruise.
Yeah.
If you're doing research, you say?
Yeah, not like a vacation through the Bahamas.
Oh, that doesn't count.
No.
What if it's an industry cruise? What if you're working in industry?
I got a bunch of fishing trips I could count then.
That's kind of what I was going for too. Can I
you paid
count
to
on
go
my
on those fishing
commercial
trips?
fishing?
I think you have to be paid or an intern for it to count.
I'm just trying to
So if you
puzzle
were
out.
out on a fishing boat, like crabbing, that would you could count that towards this.
If you're a commercial fisher person?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
Or
All right.
or a charter guide? Ooh, day charter? I don't know. Then it's a day cruise. Maybe day cruise is different than cruise.
Just trying to
What if
puzzle
you're
out the
like a
option
river
that's-
rafting guide?
Hard
Nah.
to say. Whale watching?
What if it's
Are you a raft guide?
What is
what
that?
if it's
Can
day
we
off,
zoom in and
same
Argus?
project, different crew every day?
It's like
Guys,
something kind of caught in the
Can we
rocks there.
zoom in?
Zoom,
on
zoom,
Argus?
zoom.
Yeah. Zoom out, please. Thank you. Up. I don't know. Stick. I don't know. Something.
Do you go home at night?
Yes. Right?
I love this stuff. I have no idea what the answer is to your question. It's a brain bender.
Are you still trying to puzzle out what isn't sleeping on the boat that's not sleeping on shore?
I've done a lot of that.
Huh.
Do you want me to ruin it? You want me to leave you puzzled for a while?
I think we'll.
Do you have
live
the
with
answer?
the puzzlement for a while.
I've done it a lot, yeah.
What's the question?
How have you? Does it count as a cruise if you go on a multi-day trip on a boat, but you don't sleep on the boat, but you also don't sleep on shore?
You just don't sleep?
No, you sleep.
You just. I thought this was a matter of opinion,
You
but
sleep in the water?
there's an actual answer for this.
That isn't my answer, but that's a good one too. Like a submarine, you could like a multi-day submarine trip, more Navy.
Mm.
That wasn't my answer, but that is a good one. That counts as a cruise.
This is a riddle.
It
Well, I
wasn't
mean,
meant to be, but
sub-ops would definitely count as a cruise.
absolutely, yeah.
You
I guess that's
sleep
considered
while
sleeping on the
you're
boat.
flying?
I usually don't.
Is there a hot air balloon on the boat?
Are you? Yeah.
I wish there were more dirigibles. I think that would be a fantastic way to transport yourself.
Inefficient, but fantastic.
Yeah.
What's the
time for them
difference
to make a
between a
comeback.
dirigible and a zeppelin?
I think they're.
I think they're the same thing.
Yeah, rectangle, square.
Well, a square is a rectangle, not a rectangle's not a square necessarily.
Zeppelin's a dirigible.
But not every dirigible's a zeppelin? Really? So there is a difference then? That's what you're telling me here.
What's the difference between a Zeppelin and a blimp?
A dirigible.
So what's the answer? How do you sleep on a multi-day cruise without sleeping on land or
I
a
think
boat?
that this became a riddle.
Is it time to go there?
I mean, maybe we need another minute.
Okay, another minute. Timing now.
I'm still confused what this is about.
Me too.
So am I. We're talking about we were talking about how many cruises we've been on.
Yeah.
And I got to the question of what is a cruise? What counts as a cruise?
Like if you sleep in a hammock, I feel like that's still on the boat, right? On the ship.
Oh yeah, that's just a different style of bed.
Just as long as you're physically on the boat during the hours that you should be sleeping.
Sorry. This has gotten way too meta.
This is
Oh, what about
super meta.
sleeping on a dock?
I would call. Is a dock tied to shore? Then I would call it shore.
What if it was a floating dock?
Docks usually float.
Ooh.
You'd like when docks float. That's preferred.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. Like a detached.
Is it a pier otherwise?
Well, could be. What's the difference between dock and pier?
Is it like an oil rig type of platform?
That would be another good one. That is.
See, I would almost classify that in the same
as
light as a cruise. Like if you went out and worked an oil rig.
Yeah, because you're not cruising anywhere because it's pretty fixed.
I feel like that's a tour.
Not always.
Like you're
Not
on
always.
tour. Like a work tour.
Work tour, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, it's been a minute. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready.
Hit
So,
us.
Aside from this work, I also do a lot of ROV environmental surveys for fish farms, compliance surveys, making sure they're following all environmental regulations and all this kind of stuff. So we will do day ops on the boat, and the boat is small, so it doesn't have accommodations, so we stay on the fish farms, which are not connected to shore. I mean, they're connected to the bottom of the ocean.
Oh.
Wow.
But they're a floating house, basically. Houseboat-ish thing. Not a houseboat, it's just a house.
It's kind of like a dock.
It's like a dock, but it's not tied to shore.
Kind of like a platform.
Kind of like a which?
Platform.
A crab farm?
Platform. Crab farm, sure.
It's like a platform, yeah. Kind of bargey.
But it's like on a tether rather than like something. Or
It's
is it
anchored, yeah.
It's not like a rigid support pillar.
No, it's floating and it's anchored.
Okay, so what's the answer?
What's that?
He just said it.
Wait, that was the answer?
Yeah, fish farm.
She's definitely sure you guessed that.
Okay, I really have no idea what we're talking about.
If I go out for 5 days and
Uh-huh.
do ROV ops during the day and at night, I'm not sleeping on the boat, I'm sleeping on the fish farm.
But so is that still considered a cruise?
That's the question.
I thought you were
Next
going to
question.
give us the answer to that question.
No, the answer was where am I sleeping that's not on a boat, but I'm still offshore for
Yeah, I
multiple
missed
days.
that one.
Just a little detail.
Okay, so the next question is, what constitutes a cruise?
Right,
What is
and
a cruise?
that's a very big question, and that's what we're trying to hash out here.
So I would say what Trevor just described there counts as a cruise.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Because, like, are we doing a cruise as strictly scientific research, or we determined you could be commercial fishing and be on a cruise?
We determined it could be industry, too.
Okay.
I don't have any experience in it, but oil and gas ROV cruise would be fair game to count as a cruise.
So if I work during the day and then I get off the ship and get on a plane, sleep on the plane, does that count as a cruise?
You only worked 1 day on the boat?
Yeah.
It's
a short cruise.
Well, I guess that's the same answer as if you work 1 day on a boat and get off and go home.
Yeah, I'd say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a day cruise.
Day cruise.
Day cruise.
Still a cruise.
Sure. But the plane is irrelevant, I think,
Yeah.
in this case.
Do you have to track your day cruises separate from your overnight cruises?
Might have to. Different category.
Yeah, different categories.
That's the real question, is if you go out for a day cruise and then you come back to shore and sleep in your own bed or a hotel and get back on the boat with the same people, is that a cruise? Or I should refine that. Is that multiple cruises or just one cruise?
I would
Maybe
say
it's-
yes. It's one cruise.
It's like maybe one project, and every day is a different day cruise.
Because I think whether my accommodation is floating or not, it's still a cruise. I'm still not at home.
What if you are
what
at
if I
home?
am at home? There's the rub.
But it needs to be on water.
You
What,
must step
the
offshore.
cruise? The
Yeah.
cruise part?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just go to your 9-to-5 office job and call it a cruise.
Well, you're like, as long as I'm not sleeping at home. And I'm thinking, like, if I go on a job and I go to, northern Canada and stay in a tent for a week.
Not a cruise.
Not a cruise.
Not a
Okay.
cruise.
It's a project.
I did what year is it? 2019. In 2018, I did a month and a half. Nope, that's not the right number. I did some time down in Texas, putting on the previous winch, putting a cable on that old winch. So I was in a warehouse for many hours a day, putting cable on there. It was big days, and I wasn't at home, but it's not a cruise.
I did 4 weeks in the Sahara. It's not a cruise.
Not a cruise, unless you run a boat.
It was land ocean, but it was not a cruise.
What if you were in one of those amphibious vehicles driving across the Sahara?
We had a snorkel.
Not a boat.
Not a boat.
Not a cruise.
Glad we cleared that up.
Yeah. Sahara, not a cruise. We need input from viewers at home on whether, if you get to go home at night, but you spend 5 days at sea during the day, at home at night, same project, same crew, same group.
I'm lobbying for yes, because that's how I spent a lot of my time.
I would say that's a yes.
And that's just being lucky.
That's just logistics, right?
Logistically lucky.
Logistically lucky.
I could be convinced. I think we'd have to set a minimum on time at sea, though. Per
Okay,
day.
yeah, that's fair.
Like if you're only out for 45 minutes a day, I don't think that's a cruise.
That's a fishing trip.
If you're being paid for it.
So even
Or
if you
you're
go
an
fishing
intern.
for a day, that's still considered a cruise? Like commercial fishing?
I don't know. That is the question.
I've never called one of my commercial fishing trips a cruise, to be honest.
What do you call it?
Work.